is kind of an opportunity, I'd say, where if you know that other teams aren't practicing this map as much, it could be an ace in the hole when the chips are down. And certainly for France right now, they need to buy back in.
This is a map that really shakes things up. If nothing else, it's very, very different than other maps in Overwatch. Even in the Assault map type, Temple of Anubis is just completely unique. The geometry, unlike anything else. So France may be feeling like they've lost control of this series. They want to shake things up in a really drastic way, but I can't help feeling like this is going to play to Canada's strengths. Surefour and Agility's known as some really impressive players on this map type. Agility's no slouch in the Junkrat, and oh baby, I hope he gets some Rift tires because I'm going to be raiding them.
You know, you're not on camera right now, but guys, let me tell you that Jake his file went from like a 5 to a 12 out of 10. That was actually ridiculous. The man loves Junkrat. But speaking of love here, France gonna be coming out with Nico on the Genji. And what do you think of Genji specialists here on Anubis?
I mean, it looks to me like we're right back in stage 2 again. Canada bringing out the full treehouse comp, sitting up with their Orisa, spamming them down. It's all on Agilities and Surefour. They need to find the picks, while France, they need to slip by, get into those flanks, and pressure Surefour out of this position. But he's so dangerous up here. Perfect protection by Poco. There's no chance for a shot there.
France gonna get through the first hurdle, that early archway. Now, gonna be swinging back over. What do we see here from Agilities, though? He's gonna be laying down the damage here, just trying to suppress them, make it so they don't get a clean opening. France, pretty poked down, but not gone yet. Stu, gonna fall early, but so is Agilities. The Junkrat out of the fight, but Surefour starting to clean up from the back. Absolutely no one on him.
Good patience by Banny, comes in for the res. Now that Team France is forced to back off. They use all their resources to pick up Agilities, but he's just rezzed up, he's just back, and it really didn't feel like there was any pressure on Surefour. Now he's up to 72% on his Infrasight, and pushing into that ability on Anubis is nearly impossible. A lot of ults banking up for Team Canada. France, this is really their best shot to take first point with some good amount of time left.
Does Nico have to split off and get separation on the Surefour?
I mean, it's so difficult to do that because on this map, you're always split from your healers. Genji on the flank is completely alone. He has to rely entirely on packs. That's why we see some teams elect to play the Sombra here. You can see the awareness from Surefour. He understands the call from his team, knows where the Genji's flanking from, is going to try and protect it.
Surefour keeping a good eye on that. The rest of France, though, using the opportunity to dive on in. Nano boost on the Poco, chases down his counterpart. Nico, though, blown up. Now he looks at the tire. What's it going to be? Takes down
beautiful
supports. Jake, give me a rating.
That's an 8.5 right there. Clean execution, moves through the high ground, final jukes on the last commitment. That's just technique. Crystal clear, perfect execution. Agilities making it look real easy.
Agilities making Junkrat look good right now. When you want to talk about the next fight, Surefour going to have the Infrasight up. What does France do?
The challenge here is that anything that they do is going to be scouted by Team Canada. And perfect timing by Surefour, by the way, as well. Now that France is already in, they can't really retreat out the choke. That's also a dangerous play. They're kind of caught in this flank and just at the mercy of whatever Team Canada wants to throw at them. Canada, though, playing it slow, playing it cautious. But Nico finding it hard to just get up the wall, get behind. He's going to commit his dash and go all the way to the back line. Wants to set up with his teammates soon.
And Nico has to be the story here, right? What does he do on this flank? He's invested a lot. He has a Dragon Blade. France down to a minute 40. Surefour going to loop all the way around, make this as difficult as possible for Genji. Looks for the pickoff, can't find it. Poco gonna remech as a result. France now moving on in. Nico hanging on to the blade. Canada very discombobulated right now. Positioning not really where they would like it. Nico, though, under pressure. Can't pull out the blade at 10 HP. Gonna fall! Nico down to the Widow Mine, and Canada fighting it back.
The poison from Surefour, and look at this incredibly disciplined play by Crimzo. We saw his teammates dropping low. A lot of players looked like they might fall, but Crimzo with the discipline to hold on to the Transcendence, it's still ready for Nico's blade. Nico can't feel confident about pulling that sword out when he knows Crimzo's going to be very quick on that trigger.
Blade versus tire, what happens?
This can be a tough matchup. It can go both ways, but generally, I feel like Agility is going to be advantaged here, mostly because Crimzo has the Transcendence. He doesn't have to be too far forward to protect his teammates. He knows that they can last for quite a while with the Trance. He can take the time to get the perfect tire and hopefully shut down the blade.
France gonna move in, they drop the beat. Nico still doesn't pull out the blade, didn't like what he saw. Tire going back the other way, looking on over, supports inside, no! Doesn't get unco, he's able to live just in the nick of time, but Surefour still a threat. Here comes Nico, blade looking for the support, gets Crimzo, it's not clean, but it might be enough. France able to rotate onto the point. They do enough damage, and with 22 seconds remaining here, Jake, they will get point A.
more or less an OT capture there. The ultimate's not quite coming together for Team Canada. In that fight, we see Crimzo did get his Transcendence Force before the Blade comes out, so Nico's just able to clean house, and with the major spawn advantage that France has, they do take first point, but that's really not what you want on Temple of Anubis. You want that momentum. You want ultimates to use, and France forced into a full swap situation. This could catch Canada off guard, though. Agilities on the Brigida is not going to be very effective against such a heavy tank composition. He's already switching, and so is Bani, but they're not even going to be out into the team fight. France, they've already crossed the most difficult part of the map.
Surfboard
instantly punished.
Not where you want to be right there. Gonna roll his way out as France has decided the sign in the arena was right. Go Goat's forehead, but Ben Best taken down early. The Reinhardt so important to making this work. Agilities on the Doomfist swap, doing quite well here for Canada, and they will reject France out of the point.
Doomfist is just so powerful on Anubis' second point against the Goats composition. I mean, Goats is strong, triple tank, triple support is strong, but on this point, it's just free for the Doomfist to fly in from any high ground. Poco dropping his bomb, but I don't agree with this commitment at all. Using ultimates doesn't really produce anything in this circumstance. There's really not much chance of turning anything around or getting any advantage when you're this far from point B on a map like Temple of Anubis. Poco maybe making a bit of an error there, and Canada looking to capitalize. They're building up a big bank of ultimates of their own. France has kind of lost that tempo that they gained from switching to that 3-3 comp first.
It was such an error from Poco there that I thought he'd be swapping, even though it doesn't make any sense since he plays D.Va so much. It just, to use the ultimate there was very strange. But France, they're going to roll back over. And speaking of rolling, Surf, we're going to roll and rock his way right back on down, making space here on the Hammond. And if you don't have a Sombra that deal with the Hammond here, it's so difficult to shut him down. He does a lot of disruption, and counter Shatter coming in from XQC, but Falter is there. Ben Best looking for a Shatter of his own, gets a little bit airtime, finds Bani, and France starting to get the better of this fight.
France trying to stabilize here. The bomb does come out from Note, but he's not able to find anything. It looks like France getting the better of this team fight, but it's so incredibly scrappy. Hammond and Doomfist making it so hard for France to stay together, but they're managing it, and it's Nico on high energy. If they can't take down this Zarya, they have no chance at holding the point. France ticking up towards 100% capture, and Canada can't even contest, can't maintain that aggressive play that carried them through the first defense.
So that fight escalated rather quickly there in favor of France. What was the key breaking point that gave them that opportunity?
I mean, this goes back to the center of what these tanky compositions are all about, which is the ultimates. We saw the support ults come out one after another, and it was just France with the greater discipline, holding them just a little bit longer and managing to have that last word. Their beat drop was the final ultimate of that team fight, or the final support ultimate of the team fight, which gives their players those extra few seconds to deal real damage while they still have the barrier protecting themselves. So France, they're able to cap second point, able to set a tone, for this map, and Canada, now they're going to have to come out with a good offense of their own. The real question here, though, is will France go their path with that, Junkrat Widow setup, or will they go for a more classic of this current meta, like a 3-3 or a Sombra Doom?
Well, so far it feels like, from what we've seen so far, Canada is much more comfortable on points and situations that are more wide open, like point A, whereas France, they felt a little bit better in places that are a little bit up close and personal. But as we look here to France being on the defense, they are going to be going with a similar setup here for their defense, including the Junkrat. Meanwhile, you look at Canada, you're going to see Agilities on the Genji, and what might be different for Agilities coming in here in the Genji compared to what we saw from Nico?
Well, the first difference, of course, they're both really strong Genji players, so the first difference for me is having Surefour on the Sombra as opposed to a Tracer. Sombra with that EMP gives you a way to sort of trick and somehow win the ultimate economy even when it's not really in your favor. So this gives Agilities a little bit more options on the win condition. He doesn't absolutely have to force the trance. He's got another teammate who can kind of apply a similar pressure on the Zenyatta, the trance, but Uncle's not even on Zen, so France is going with no defensive support ults. Both of these support ults are really more in that aggressive category, so they're really going to need to keep the pressure on Canada, denying them any initiations.
And something that's going to depend on Nico as well as going to fish saying as Agilities gets blown up immediately, and while the Junkrat is being so aggressive, so is soon Battle Widow coming into play where they go, oh, you guys want to sit up in here? We're going to chase you as if we were attacking once more, and this is actually doing okay. XQC lucky to get away with his life there as France is being insanely aggressive.
Applying pressure in this way is so important with the Ana Mercy comp. You need to win that first team fight and start snowballing ultimates because you really can't deal with something like a Nano Blade.
See the Nano Boost coming in from XQC. Space being created here from Canada. Moving forward, looking to put pressure. Soon down, Agility's able to get one of the key targets. Ends up giving his life for it though, and now things get a little bit scrappy, but this is good for the offense. Bani in the back, close to a Transcendence. Might be able to use it to finish it out, but ideally, Jake, he'd like to save it as Canada now is grinding down this French defense.
Benny absolutely free-farming here on point. That's 3 for Benny, gets a 4th, lighting it up and celebrating. That's deserved right there. Benny looking good, great positioning in that team fight, keeps him alive for the cleanup. And as you said, Discipline doesn't need the Transcendence, knows he can just frag out, take the point all on his own. So Benny looking really sick here.
Is EMP and Transcendence enough for this next fight?
This is going to be a really challenging fight. The Riptire from Nico doesn't have an obvious response for Team Canada, and Note has to make that double swap to get back in his mech on the Diva, so he'll be getting into the team fight. The question is, can Nico find something with the tire? Benny's forced to trance early, maybe some aggression coming out from Team France, but the trance really not producing anything. Canada not able to find frags off of it.
Yeah, the Transcendence definitely preemptive. France doing a good job of just forcing him out. Meanwhile, Surefour, he's been caught. They knew his Sombra would be back here, and he's just barely able to get out in time. Meanwhile, oh, what a sleep coming in. Nap time for Agilities, courtesy of Unco. And France, they needed that bad because this fight is still rough, but not rough anymore. Nico gonna run 2 people right over, and France gets some direly needed stabilization.
Great tire from Nico, knows he just needs to swap off that Junkrat. Not so effective against the dive setup. Now he's on to the Doomfist. This makes a lot of sense, and this is a comp that I really think makes just a ton of sense for Anubis' second point. Doomfist constantly on the high ground, can always drop in on those oncoming attackers, and Sombra, what a perfect setup for Doomfist, dropping those EMPs, those hacks, and the health packs on this point are even more crucial than almost any other 2CP in the game, so Poco certainly going to be looking to abuse that. Surefour, though, somehow finds Nico before the fight begins. That's a major pickoff.
Storm arrows are coming, and Canada looking for a way in. XQC gonna go really aggressive because he has the primal. Decides to pop it and found Unco. A great use of being that aggressive to get out with your life. And now we see Canada really turning the screws here to France. They're gonna rotate right onto the point. XQC gonna continue to make space. It's gonna be up to Nico to find a random pick here, but he's under pressure. He's gonna not quite fall, gets healed back up in time, but it's still even. Canada, again, burning everything to get back in on this point, but France is doing a great job of just delaying.
The Nano comes out on XQC, but he's retreating right as it comes in, so he's really not going to find full value off of that, but getting just enough here maybe. Ooh, and the Doomfist combo as well. Catches wins off guard. He can't escape. Now Poco demagged, and the Dragon's coming right down mid. It's going to be a real struggle for France to come back and contest this point. Team Canada holding strong and cleaning up the tanks. No one's on the point. They need to stop this objective, but it's Canada's overwhelming pressure here that's going to capture second.
Soon, finds a little bit of time, wins, throws himself at the point, but it's not enough. Poco can't get a chance to use that bomb at the very end. And I gotta tell you, Jake, you take a look at the circumstances here. It is a much quicker time for Canada. And of course, if Canada is able to capitalize on that, if they're able to have a great defense here and stop France, that will give them the 3-0 sweep to go directly into the semifinals tomorrow.
Canada's certainly going to be feeling good about their prospects right now, on the brink of victory in the quarterfinal, want to punch their ticket to that semifinal and potentially even go further. And right now, it certainly looks like they could. I mean, there were a lot of question marks about this team coming into the tournament. Have they practiced enough? Are these players the right players? Can they stack up against some of these other rosters? But they're just playing this cool, calm, and collected Overwatch. They're not really, they don't feel like they have to make those big plays, right? We haven't seen those players overextending, trying to make something happen solo. Everything is done in concert. I want to really highlight Surefour, especially for that Hanzo pick against the Doomfist Sombra. It makes so much sense. The Sonic Arrow kind of deny that Sombra from being able to invis and sneak into your backline. You can catch her out and force her away. And at the same time, Hanzo's one of the best characters at assaulting that initial high ground. He's able to kill Nico, who's really the centerpiece of that defensive aggression. They want to dive with Nico, but when he falls first, they really are lost. I mean, their composition kind of falls apart. So Surefour playing really well on the Hanzo, accomplishing his role basically perfectly here. And now France about to be tested again by the Junkrat and Widow, the Gauntlet.
We'll see just how it works, of course, soon. Not deciding to go to Widow, was thinking about it, but going to be going Tracer instead. So once more for France, it is this GT dive.
It really brings back memories seeing these compositions, exactly what we saw in the Overwatch League here. Let's see if Canada continues to get aggressive into that side flank. This time Surefour likes to stay a little closer. Doesn't quite want to rotate across yet. He needs his grapple cooldown. And
I think part of that is that you don't want to be predictable. He doesn't want to meet soon in that dark alleyway. Might not be super pleasant. And right now, you have this mind game to the left. But meanwhile, Nico was able to deal with Crimzo. France doing way more in this first attack. Nico opening it wide here for France, and they're going to roll directly into a point, and this is what they needed with the time deficit of the first round.
This is really nice aggression from Team France. Last time they were in the same situation, Canada pushed right into them on the flank, but this time France is ready, and they're the ones to start the aggression off. Picking both supports like that is essentially the end of the fight on Anubis' first point. You have such a big spawn advantage as Team France, and they don't even need it. Nobody dying there on that offense, making it look very easy, and switching to this 3-3 comp that also worked very quickly on second. So Canada, they need an answer for this. They need to respond. They cannot allow this cap to go through. That would be absolutely terrible.
What do you think? Oh, Surefour going to May was on the creep for a while and decides, you know what? We really want to chill out here in the most literal of ways. Gonna drop the ice wall, but it doesn't split France. The wall there, you need to get more. Now there's a window of opportunity for France to move in. While the wall's on cooldown, they don't really take the most of it here. Another tempted wall coming on in. Benbest, nano boost, charging over to the side. Again, looking to bisect the team. Swing the hammer a few more times, get stunned, isolated, healed back up, Benbest still up! What great heals coming in from Unco. Saves his main tank. France still with 6. Down goes Surefour. France moving on in.
The name of the game is staying alive here. Banny finds the first pick of Canada's team fight. Takes down Unco. That's actually a crucial fight here. Denies one of the main healers for Team France. The wheels could start to fall off, but France, they're holding strong at the point. They could just snowball through here.
This is fantastic. Unco set it up. He's going to swap to the boy right now as France is so close. One tick on this point already, and nothing but sheer dominance. Hammond not going to be rolling out of that one. The grab has you, and it's cold embrace as France, it's pick off after pick off. 2 ticks about to be their way, Jake.
Crimzo can't make it to point. He's 90 on the nano boost, but there's no target for him. He's bashed down. France in total control, trying to finish this cap before overtime, and it looks like they might just do it. Banny desperately wall riding to the point, but he can't quite make it in time. Surefour picked off.
Oh,
They have
on the
overtime.
clock! Time left on the clock! That is massive! That means that even if Canada comes through and double caps themselves, you're gonna get one more attack for France. Those 4 seconds, Jake, so important.
Makes a major difference here. Canada's road to ending this series just got a lot longer. They've got multiple rounds to win ahead of them. So France, maybe they figured out Anubis. Maybe this is why they picked that map. I mean, that 3-3 attack on the second point just looks so clean, clinical, and practiced from Team France. That seems like their wheelhouse, which is, you know, ironic because normally you would consider the second point of Anubis one of the most difficult maps to take in the entire game. So France being so dominant there, showing why they picked this map, why they feel so confident about being able to win here.
And not only that, but you gotta think about this French team where these are veterans upon veterans. If anyone could come back and pull a reverse sweep for those dedicated fans right there, it is the team we are watching right now.
This is something we talked with them about in our meeting. They're a team with a ton of experience. They've all played in the LAN environment before. They all understand the pressures associated with it. And they were saying is, you know, we feel like if we can start to take maps off them, they're going to crumble. They don't think Canada has the same mental fortitude. They feel like it doesn't matter. You know, they've been in the situations, they've been down 2, and they know they can reverse sweep, so they're going to do it again. And we're going to see if that's the reality here on this quarterfinal stage.
Canada, a long way to go. They still have 4 minutes, so France not out of the woodwork here yet, but they have to feel good soon. Looking to apply the Widow pressure early on, not quite able to find the head of Ana there, but France, with the aid of Poco up there, keeping Soon well protected. Now they're going to rotate back.
It's nice poking aggression from Team Canada, keeping the pressure on Soon so he doesn't have those 3 sightlines on the supports and spawn. Nice discipline from Crimzo and Banny to be so slow out of the gate, sort of make sure everything's clear, but not this time. Banny picked off at the choke, and that's going to be a reset for Team Canada. Both supports dropping, and wow, Soon already has an infocyte to work with.
He just absolutely crushed XQC. Woo. Absolutely dominant coming out here from Soon, and you know, it's almost like this guy was an OWL All-Star when it came to Widowmaker.
Feels like I've been here before. Soon on Widow defense on Anubis first. Doesn't feel very defensive to me. He's peeking very aggressive right now. Canada needs an answer. They might be able to slip through this time. Nice distraction from Surefour. Might buy the time his team needs. Oh, the sleep.
Unco is playing out of his mind right now. The heals on Benbest in the last round. The pickoff on Surefour this round. So much time now being bought here for France as they want to turn the series back around.
Very, very close here, but again, losing Surefour like that to the sleep, it's so impactful. As soon as you lose one player on Temple of Anubis offense, you're kind of often forced to reset. It's so difficult to break the Orisa, you don't even want to try without your full roster altogether. Canada, though, doing much the same that France did, but I like the way France is playing this. They're not fully committing, but it's a Jody's Blade! Oh, shuts down the Riptire! Looks for more!
Slash the tire right on through! He didn't explode it in time! That was on a razor's edge, and Canada is gonna cut on through. They're gonna grab this first point and get an attempt on point B.
Wins popping the Valkyrie, trying desperately to full hold, but not able to make it happen here. I guess that's probably because he wants to switch off the Mercy onto Lucio. Surprising to still see him come up on the Mercy. No. Going over to Lucio. I like this decision making. And France, back to that Somber Doom. All they need to do is hit a full hold here, right? That first point, it's not necessary. They didn't need to make that hold. They can still win the map and still begin a potential comeback if they can hold here.
And historically, it is much more difficult to get point B than point A, but Surefour, he goes, you know what? I actually got the easy mode for this. I'm setting up here at the EMP. I'm gonna talk with my team, give them scouting info, and when the time is right, he's gonna drop it. But here's the problem, France is so aggressive that Surefour didn't get the chance. Crimzo down early, and okay, they're still gonna go for it. They drop the EMP down one. This is dangerous, but they think they can make it work. The problem is, they're down XQC. They don't have the healing that they normally have to keep him up, but still, they're on the point. They're gonna get one tick, self-destruct comes in, and France gonna have to try to find a way to fight this back.
It's definitely a very surprising commitment from Team Canada. Not everybody all together, but Agility finds one with the Blade, looking to get more resets. Benbes goes very deep with the Nano, but a major overextension there, completely shut down by all the focus power coming out from Canada. And this fight might somehow work out. A very unorthodox commitment from Team Canada, but they're making it work. XQC, he still has that Primal Rage. He can still disrupt. In France, they don't have any ultimates to work with just yet.
They have to throw themselves on the point right into a ready and waiting XQC. Banny with the fancy footwork right to the face as Canada is in such a good spot. They deal with the French reinforcements. 3-0 here so far. They get dominance back on the point, and we're going to even more rounds here, Jake.
Canada, again, just doing it better, getting an even faster time in the second set of offense-defense swaps. So Canada, I mean, they're looking dominant here, but it's anybody's game at this point. I feel like it's flipped both ways. We've seen Canada make an impressive hold on first and lose first instantly. We've seen much the same from France. So really, I really feel like any of these teams could do it. Now it's about who makes that correct adaptation, who properly anticipates what their opponents are going to bring to bear.
I think something that's key to note here is that given the momentum that you can get on Anubis, France is definitely working with less time here, but if you get that good early attack, it might not matter. And don't forget here for France as well, this is a true best of 5, right? Where you're not in a situation where a draw still means you might lose a series. No, we go until one team properly gets 3.
Certainly winnable here for Team France, but it has to all begin here on Temple of Anubis. They need to make it happen, and Canada's the one with the major time bank advantage. They're going to have a few shots at this offense, and France is really looking at a one shot. I mean, they don't really have anything, no potential to reset. I mean, there's just not enough time on a map like Temple of Anubis. Setting up for one good team fight takes so long. Often it can take more than a minute. So France, they're in a really rough spot here. There needs to be some big plays coming out. I wonder if Canada will be caught out again, and I really don't expect that. I mean, Crimzo and Banny got found really quick by Nico last round, and I'd really expect him to be a lot more passive and careful this round.
It's just about how you deal with that pressure coming on in, where this time it's not going to be a GT dive. You're going to have Soon coming in here in the Sombra, so it is a change-up, and that can help Nico tremendously.
Gives him a lot more potential to snowball in second as well. That EMP, much more impactful of an ultimate than the Pulse Bomb.
We'll see how Soon sets us up. Obviously going to be working rather closely here with Nico. You see Benbest on his perch. It's all about this initiation. 34 seconds left. See what goes on here. Nico did get hacked, but he's still in a safe spot, and time is being burned right now.
It's actually very important. Benbest forced to use his bubble to protect his teammate there with the hack. But Agilities finds Uncle. That's an absolutely game-changing pick. Puts a trap onto Benbest. Wants to get that frag as well. Absolutely opening this fight up is Agilities on the jump grab. Very nice play there.
Absolutely, and that is what you needed here on the other end. But take a look at France. Nico setting up in the back line. Doesn't have a blade, but maybe good position for a pick off Canada. They'd like to hold strong. Final 2 seconds here. Surefour finds Soon, and no one touches the point!
really no chance for Team France to win a team fight like that. And now really it's all up to Canada. They just need to achieve one tick on the first point for that clean 3-0 sweep in this quarterfinal. Canada really going beyond expectations here, playing a lot better than I think a lot of people predicted them to.
Now let's set the stakes here for those at home wondering what is going to happen. Of course, you have a replay of the final fight here where you see Sure for that early pick and no one able to get on the point, but the stakes could not be clearer. Canada, if they get 33% on this first point, they go to the semifinals and they eliminate France right now.
Certainly could happen, and it's really looking that way. It feels like from that defense, Canada has maybe patched up those leaks, figured out what went wrong on that second round of defense, and now back to the offense. They have looked really strong at first point. It hasn't felt like a major sticking point for them or any major problem. So now, really, I expect France to be bringing an adaptation, but it doesn't look like they want to. They feel confident about this on a Mercy setup. This might be a struggle. I mean, they don't have a Transcendence. They don't have a beat drop. There's no clean answer to a Nano Blade, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Agilities will be finding one of those this round.
2 minutes and 22 seconds. That's a lot of time to set up some great ultimate situations. How does France burn this time off?
It's honestly all on the playmakers. Nico and Soon, we need to see them producing here. We need to see pickoff after pickoff. You cannot allow Canada to get set up. You cannot allow them to take the team fights they want to take, because when those ultimates are brought to bear, you won't be able to stop a strong team fight. You'll only be able to hold with picks like this. Soon lighting it up right now, finds one. Agilities tries to push him back, wants to get his old teammate from the Valiant off and away from this high ground, but Soon says no. He's right back in position, wants to continue spawn camping, and Nico finds Surefour as well. This is the beginning of a hold.
Jake, you're writing the script, and France is acting it out right now as we speak. But they're gonna need a lot more than that.
Yeah, Soon forced off his aggressive perch. Now Canada managing to sneak into the flank. A little bit slow there, a little bit sloppy, but they're not punished this time. Soon continuing to rotate, and he almost has that infra sight. It's so important. It's so difficult to set up those big flanks that you want to with the dive when the enemy can see every move. But Nico, his mind is caught by the Diva. Huge play by Note.
Surefour able to finish it off towards the very end. One pickoff here for Canada. Remember, they just need a little bit on the point. Soon gonna fall. The playmakers we talked about down. Soon, res back up. Crimzo though, gonna nano. XQC moving in. Team Canada, gotta love this, moving in. And now, France on their final legs here in the Overwatch World Cup. Canada about to advance. They need a bit more on the point. XQC, let it all out. Rage to your heart's content as Canada makes the space they need. Point A is theirs, and they move on to the semifinals.
That's a 3-0 from Team Canada over Team France. We saw the deaths they thought France would win. Shows what they know. Team Canada looking so clean here, playing so well, and with so much trust and just team play here. I mean, this is a team we know they haven't practiced as much as others. They are relying on trusting each other, building that natural synergy. And we can see Jane celebrating Bandy. Bandy definitely having a breakout performance here.
And I'll tell you what, he's celebrating. I got a chance to talk to him a bit before, and Canada was really worried about their ability to deal with a top-class GOATS team like France. Yesterday's preparation wasn't everything they expected and more, but in the end, they rise to the occasion. They finish the sweep. But guys, you don't want to go anywhere, because when we come back, we got the most electrifying host in esports entertainment, Golden Boy, leading the discussions on what just happened.